Mic test. Mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. I think mas mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. I think mas mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. I think mas mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? There. I think was that was too low. Mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? There. I think was that was too low. Mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? There. I think was that was too low. Mic test. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? There. I think was maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Mic yeah, maybe I'll play. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? There. I think was maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Mic yeah, maybe I'll play. Mic. Mic test. Mic test. What the hell? Game capture. There. I think was Maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Yeah, maybe I'll play.
Mic test. Mic test.
Here you are. There.
I think it's
Maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Yeah, maybe I'll play.
Mic test. Mic test.
Here you are. There.
I think it's
Maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Yeah, maybe I'll play.
Mic test. Mic test.
Here you are. There.
I think it's
Maybe I'll play a game. I don't know. That was too low. Yeah, maybe I'll play.
Mic test. Mic test.
I actually am doing this because I'm joining a promo from OneStream Live. So might as well do something productive. So I can what I do is I play a game, then I write a book while playing. But I can also do it like this. But I already showed this in my other. Well, that's another course, which is classified. So yeah, I just play, and while I'm playing, I look at the camera like this. For example, because this is the real thing. It's gonna be part of my course. But the thing is the audio. So while I'm playing, I pretend that I'm not actually playing, but so yeah, I'm gonna discuss about sex appeals and iceberg. So because wait, so how this works, by the way. Oh no, wait. That's the issue there. I get distracted. How it works is, if I have nothing to say, I just pause and let voice cut it out, the silence parts. But I also use Pictory because I edit it. I edit the course raw course like a document. And only Pictory can do that. If I just need to edit out a few lines, VoiceCat can also do that. I just cut out some storyboards. I like what I'm doing. If this were a course, I'm just telling, but this is a course. Okay, let's do it for real this time. the thing is I cannot concentrate on the game. But anyway. So sex appeals and iceberg. So you need to know about Malcolm Gladwell's book Blink, in which he discussed about thin slicing. That's one of the ideas that will make this scratch that. When I say scratch that, I will see this in Pictory. Scratch that, scratch that, scratch that. So there. That's a prompt for me to delete the words before that. I learned that from Dragon Naturally Speaking, because I said before, years ago, I would just play a game all day long. Just play a game and write a book. Only difference now is
come to keep your blade sharp?
I'm actually creating a video course.
Wolf-kissed.
I mean, in the game. Oh yeah. Actually
Gunnar.
seeing my screen.
I have something here you might like to see.
Thunderclap of Thor! Is that your father's axe? I have not seen this beauty since, well, for some time. I forged this weapon long ago. Still looks good. One of my finest, I think.
It has a blunted blade, but it swings well. Can you sharpen it?
I can give it a better edge and reinforce the handle.
I've only recently
And as
started
luck
this
would
game.
have it, I
It's
have
the
one
second
ingot left for
day
the job.
I'm playing
Are you
this.
sure?
The fates have willed it so. But in future, bring your own metal ingots. I cannot forge them from empty air.
So yeah. So there, just showed my gaming screen briefly. But if I were to do this for real, no, I'm gonna do this for real, because I want to make my time productive. So edit my screen OBS, and make that disappear. And only this will remain. I just need to remember to look at the screen. Oh yeah, also the system audio. I need to turn that off because they'll hear it. How do I turn that off? Mic test. Mic test. Now I need to see the live YouTube video. Just to verify. Mic test. Mic test. I need to see the live YouTube video. Okay. I'm actually hearing sirens. What is that? So yeah, let's get to work. I just need to pretend, because this will be in the course number 2. So I'm actually hearing sirens. What is that? I'm reading the GC. I get distracted. Okay, let's do it for real. For real this time. In 2 minutes. I thought I was streaming live to my Facebook. So it's only on YouTube. Okay. So looking at my whiteboard, the aspect of icebergs. I need to do it again. Iceberg sex appeal. Because this is a course about non-verbal, I'm not sure yet, non-verbal persuasion. But maybe this is just going to be non-verbal seduction. Yeah, maybe that's where I'll go. I've already done day 1. Why not? We're already here. And action. Action, action, action. Icebergs and sex appeal. There's gonna be a lot of pauses. It doesn't matter, they won't see it anyway. Even if I pause for 5 minutes, to them it's just 1 second. Thanks to Wisecut. Game changer software and Pictory. Anyway, so sex appeals and icebergs. One idea for this to make sense is a concept called thin slicing by Malcolm Gladwell, the book Blink. So basically it says that you can quickly read a person or thin slice based on sensory cues that you perceive from that person. So that's usually visual, what you see. So we instantly judge people. That's basically it. We instantly judge people based on the cues. You know, for example, I have long hair. Well, maybe I don't work in a corporate job. But then nowadays it's pandemic, so I don't know how that works. So, you know, clues like that, a lot of clues like that. My shirt, whey. Usually when you say whey, it means, you know, supplements. So you already know a lot of things from that. So we need to work with that assumption that people are judging us all the time, consciously or unconsciously. It's just automatic. It's just how the world works. So we need to leverage that principle, natural tendency of people. It is an iceberg. Sex appeal is an iceberg because you are only the surface shows. But if only the surface, if that's it, then you are superficial. There's nothing there. It's weak. And that is what a tryhard is. So let's say someone wearing a lot of shiny things, like a lot of bling, you know. If there's nothing else there, then you could say it's put on, you know. There's no depth there. So the idea is you have a lot of attractive things beneath the surface that you want to, you know, naturally show without actually showing it. So like this, the example I said, these are all obvious. Thin slicing, instant judgment. That's all obvious, superficial. But the deeper aspects there would be probably the kind of words I use. Maybe my body language, you know, the energy I project. So there are many different kinds of attractive qualities, right? We touched on this a little from another section about survival and replication values. Women in general want someone to, you know, protect, provide. And men in general, from the caveman days, want a replication value, someone who will be a good, just to put it bluntly, baby maker. That's why the breast and the ratio, or the hips and all that, all those things. Those are just the physical or built-in attraction mechanisms. The same way animals get naturally attracted also to certain fitness indicators, like with peacocks. Big colorful feathers, for them that indicates something, you know. So we don't just want to go with that because we already covered that in the other section. We want to go deeper. This is the next level. We are going to talk about things that are not necessarily hardwired into us. Because remember, it took us like eons, thousands of years for those programmings to be implanted in our genetics. That's why it's built in. It's our mating mechanism to choose the best mates possible for us. So that's why it's built in. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to, oh, I should be attracted because. No, it's automatic. It's primal. But then, because we've evolved, we are now modern human beings living in society with the different rules, different everything, different culture from way back in the caveman days. So there are now many more kinds of attraction mechanisms. A lot of these things still stem from the root. It's still about like survival value. For example, money. There wasn't money back then. When you say being a provider, that meant being strong, being a good hunter, That's what it meant in caveman days. But now, because we've evolved the concept of money, all that, so that kind of replaced it. But we're still not hardwired. It's there. We can use it, but I wouldn't say it's still hardwired. No one is hardwired to, like when no one is hardwired to, like if you don't know the meaning of money, you won't get attracted to it. It's contextual. You first need to understand what it means. So yeah, as with previously, the example with the female looking boys, because it usually, the more masculine you are, the more attractive you are, but it's become the more androgynous, maybe androgynous. So that mechanism is there, and why not? Why don't you use it anyway? But those are superficial again. So we are going to in more complicated scratch that. Let me put it this way. Marker. Let me put it this way. Let's say you have a fetish for a computer hacker. How do you subcommunicate that without looking obvious? How they do that in styling, fashion styling, is they provide clues. For example, again, I'm going to use the thing, The Witcher, behind me. If I were to design clothing, I'm going to have that material, subtle, very subtle things, subtle clues. So if you're trying to go after that archetype, let's say persona of a hacker, because for example the target is into that and you want to use it, so you're gonna need to sprinkle some hacker like things around you. You can be obvious about it, but you might get called out. Rather, it's easier, or it's more sophisticated if it's the message is there without them knowing why exactly you look like a hacker. A much easier example, I guess, because I do this, is a commando look. Yeah, okay, Jason Bourne is, you can call it that, but Jason Bourne is more like Mission Impossible CIA type. James Bond is another kind. So, well, Rambo. What's the I don't know if we have a modern Rambo. So that's the commando. So yeah, okay. Example, I have a cargo pants, for example. You know those clues. If you wear a fatigue design, well, that's already too much. You just need to some clues. So yeah, like cargo pants and this special bag on your side, on your leg. I forgot what it's called, but it kind of looks like you're carrying a gun when it's not. When you're just, it's just a normal bag. Or maybe a boot, maybe boots also. I think it's easier to go for the other look because I sometimes do this. Yeah, that's the Blackwater look. The mercenary look. Mercenary look. That's much easier to pull off. Because that's just a pants, you know, and pants and just clues like very subtle clues. Maybe shades or sunglasses, stuff like that. Maybe even use the thing, the what they call that, Plantronics and wireless Bluetooth earphone, headphone. Yeah, only one. You see? You know, like Mission Impossible. Only one. Stuff like that. You can go overboard because if you go overboard, then they call you out. You lose the magic because the thing is, you're just suggesting things. You're suggesting. Well, we are assuming here that the target is into that. So right now, what I'm just talking about is fashion styling. But we shouldn't get stuck with that. What is the body language of Rambo or a Blackwater operative or let's say a rock star. That's much easier. Because I also pulled that look before when I was younger. How do they move? Yeah, that's a much better example. Because it's hard to the example about Blackwater Rambo. Like, what? You look like a killer. You look like you've murdered 10 people or something. No, but the other one. Let's say a rock star. How do they move? There's a Lenny Kravitz vibe, how they move. Carefree, not stiff, loose, sexy, sensual. Gets in your space. If you're a woman, like they have that energy. Well, maybe all those things. You choose your archetype. So you have to communicate that without being too obvious. Actually, you can start with being really obvious. Like, for example, Lenny Kravitz, if that's your model. Like, copy everything, like everything. How he moves, how he talks. Watch several videos. And then just slowly ease out. As I mentioned before, the message has to be there, but it has to be invisible. So if you do it that way, Well, okay, there's still not enough depth there. You know what? If you really want to go iceberg, iceberg principle, this is what they do in acting, method acting. Like Heath Ledger, for example, Heath Ledger, when playing the Joker character, he didn't just play that. If you just play that, there's a line, you have to look this and that. For example, I was the director. Hey, Heath, play the Joker. Play the Joker in 2 hours. And that's going to be superficial, the tip of the iceberg only. There's nothing underneath. But what he did to prepare for that role, to really get into that role, is he studied the psychology, the motivations. Why does he... I think he was doing something with his lips. I forgot what it was. There was something there. Something. He didn't just like do that. It's not just a tick. If I just did that, and I didn't understand what is the motivation behind it, tip of the iceberg. Tip, not the core, not the... because what's important is underneath, So he did method acting, I believe. He really developed that character. Every tick that exists, he understood where it came from, why. So maybe he didn't even need to focus on the physicality or the appearance. Maybe because he just focused on the actual depth. It just naturally came out like that. And that's why no one ever said he was a try-hard, unconvincing, fake. Those kinds of comments. Those mean, when you get comments like that, that means you're being a try-hard. It's not real. It's a put on. It's faked. So that's the kind of people who just, do flash, bling. But they're not real. They're not, because you're trying to, because the attempt to send the message is there. They see it. Whereas I'm saying, you need to send the message without sending it, without looking like you're trying to send that message. Just like Heath Ledger. You see that suffering internally. How'd you do that? How did he... No director can just do that. He went through a process. In fact, he was too good at it. He took his own life. That's the issue there. It became real. But some people actually like the Joker. Like me, I like it. I like Joker. I like who's the crazy girl? Yeah, I like that. Genius, beautiful, and crazy. What's her name? Quinn? Maybe it's Quinn. Yeah. But then if I probably met someone like that in real life, I'd be scared, of course. I'd be scared of that. So that's the thing. If you're pressed for time, you need to be a certain kind of person, and you don't have time to prepare, then do what you can. But it's not going to be real, especially those with trained eye, or especially those people with that life, or have met legit people like that. You're not fooling anyone. You're not gonna fool anyone. But yeah, maybe It's okay if you're like doing some sort of play or something. You're just making fun. No, but because when you're doing it for real, because this really happens. Like they act like, well, actually, we were taught earlier, and this is standard, word for word. This is what they taught us. Act like you own the club. When you work, when you walk in a club, act like you own the club. And another common teaching is, fake it till you make it. Yeah. So that's superficial. Uh, yeah, maybe for practice, I guess. But if you're doing for real, because I have been called try hard, because I was trying to pull off a look, a certain kind of look, and I couldn't understand it. How does she know this? How does she know I'm not really like that? But it's not any archetype. It's just a different kind of style. It's just a different kind of style. More casual kind of. How do I define this? But yeah, because I was experimenting with my look back then. He just she knew that was the first time. They just know. And again, earlier, as I've mentioned, women are sharper. They really are built to sense the nonverbal stuff. They are highly sensitive to this. I forgot the statistics on this, but it's like they have 30% more sensitivity to nonverbals or something like that. Because remember, when they were hardwired to take care of the young, how will you take care of the baby if you can't read him? That's why they have that. So, well, at least that's the theory in the evolutionary psychology stuff. But yeah, even in real life, you could just tell they're really more sensitive in a lot of ways. So before the end of this course, because you can't pull off any kind of look, right? Because you need to choose the best kinds of archetypes that would suit you. Like that example, it didn't suit me. Maybe I was too old for it, or I had a different personality. You can just look at the magazine and copy it. If it's not you, don't try. You're just gonna try hard. So you need to choose the most attractive version of that archetype, and try to go for that. If you're a midget, who's the most attractive midget you know? Peter Dinklage, Lannister. Forgot we discussed this. If you're an old man, but you have muscles, what look do you go for? My recommendation is Zeus. If you're old but you don't have muscles, what do you do? The sexiest old regular guy I know is either Sean Connery or Hugh Hefner. There are others in your nationality, different height, build. You just find that, and Well, because at first you go for the superficialities at first, but then you need to break it down really. What made them attractive? Then yeah, prepare for that in the iceberg part, and hopefully it shines through. But then you can't be a Playboy Mansion empire owner. So if that's what made it work, no. But come on, let's say Hugh Hefner, R.I.P. Hugh Hefner wasn't rich, but he had that. He moved like that. You know, because he is charismatic. At least in my opinion, he is. So even without that, you know, he's still attractive in my opinion. Sean Connery, you know. So you also have to consider that those things that we cannot copy. You cannot be a billionaire or be famous. You just copy what you can, and you have to be realistic. What made it work? What made that archetype work? Because if you can copy that element, then maybe it won't work without it. Maybe Peter Dinklage persona won't work without the fame, without him landing the job. But maybe the one from Austin Powers, maybe that's universal. We just have to like also try different different choices. If you're a midget, then you go after those two, and some others. There was also the from the James Bond movie. Other movies. And again, you find inspiration from, you know, famous characters, movies, books, even cartoon characters. My favorite guy, I channel him in his sense of humor, at least on my Facebook post. They don't get it because they don't watch it. But how, you know, he's immature and stupid, but sexy and dangerous. Cartoon character. I don't know if you can guess. What else? He's suave, but really stupid. But a different kind of stupid. He's competent, like a professional. Archer. Yeah, that's him. If you haven't figured it out, Archer. Yeah. I use him. Maybe they don't get it, but at least for self-amusement. I don't think they get it. No. I don't think they get yeah, but but I'm not modeling everything also, which is another point. I'm just modeling his specific trait that I like, that kind of humor, and only in Facebook or in written form. But yeah, with close friends I can do that also, because they will get me, because they have an extensive reference of how my mind works. But maybe if I did that on a complete stranger, you know, I might get slapped or something. You have to consider that also. Next topic. Okay. Next topic is sex appeal and LOA, law of attraction. But I don't know how to say it yet. So I'm gonna think. I don't usually smoke, but I will this time. Because I need to clean this the gunk out. It's not giving me the right hit. I'm referring to a vape. Law of attraction and sex appeal. Yeah, there's a reason why I wrote that. I just can't remember why right now. Should have written it in the longer sentences. I'll just do another one. Oh, yeah, intensity. That I can do. I wonder who said that. What's the name of that guy who said this? Anyway, what am I doing? This will just get cut out anyway. I just need to be silent for 2 seconds and it's gone. This part is gone. The scene is gone. Also, one mistake I shouldn't make is because Wisecut and Pictory can only... It's a pain in the ass if you go over 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's really a pain in the ass. I have to split them up into 2 pieces in Premiere. Took me a while to do that earlier. Pain in the ass. So under any circumstance, this must not exceed 1.30. It's intensity. Most of these things, I just have a mind map and riff. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense, or I cannot explain it properly, so I just I have to keep on talking and talking until I find it, which is fine. I'll just edit it out in Pictory. Scratch that, scratch that, scratch that. Next, topic is intensity. One way to practice energy projection when it comes to sex appeal, or not even sex appeal, any kind of message. If you want to be creepy, you want to project creepiness, whatever you want. Creepy appeal. I think the only way you can practice this is if you watch America's Next Top Model and you tried posing, like really produce good photos. You're gonna learn a lot of stuff from that, but that will get cut out anyway by Pictory. Wisecut cannot cut arms. So the poor man's wise cut when I don't have sufficient credit is I go it'll get cut out anyway. Scratch that, scratch that, scratch that. So in order to learn projection, you need to like really pose, like watch Next Top Model and how they do that. If you haven't seen a real life shoot, you'd think it's just like that. But in person, it's actually more exaggerated, more intense. You could say 30% more intense. So even if when you see the picture, it's just like, but in actuality, I'm just going to exaggerate it now. You know, that's super exaggerated. But when you see it, maybe it's only like that. But in real life, it's like, you know, that's why Tyra always says, fierce, fierce, fierce. Fierce, Fierce, if you haven't watched that show. So in real life, it's very exaggerated and unnatural, really unnatural, over the top. Yes. And you'll appreciate it if you did the photos. You know, try to produce really good photos by being fierce, not just typical selfie, because you're not projecting energy. It needs to be a fashion shoot. Use a cell phone, whatever. This is just for practice. So again, because you're being 30% or more, just 30% exaggerated, you learn how to project more, stronger. Once you get that feeling, you can, again, which I always say, ease out of it. The message is there, but maybe sometimes you actually want to project stronger. For example, in the clubs and bars, that's also one reason. That's also one reason people who go out regularly and practice in clubs and bars have stronger sex appeal, stronger vibe. And that's because we learn to, because we're being drowned out by the energy of the place, right? It's a high energy environment. It's also loud. What do you do to get heard, to get noticed? You need to project stronger. So if you don't want to practice the Tyra and model shoots, then you go in a club. But then it's a pandemic. You go in the club and approach, So once you learn what I'm referring to, just go and practice. Keep on practicing that. And you'll learn how to project stronger when you need to. Maybe you need to be more intense in your gaze and something else. Later on, we'll talk about the angles, angular stuff. Another thing worth noting is video reduces your energy by 30% or 20%, or more or less, around that. So what you're doing in real life maybe that's the normal, but in the video it would come out differently unless you're used to this, because you will learn how to compensate. It might come off like very low energy and even boring. So, but there are certain use cases for that also, like if you want to be more intimate. It can be like really high energy stuff, like, you know, if you want to be more intimate, this is the energy you want. You want to be lower energy. It depends what you want, but know at least that that rule exists. So if you're talking about upbeat subjects where you need energy, more presence, overcompensate. Overcompensate by 20% more, and watch your video later on. But this is for, you know, if you're not used to it, because you will learn. Over time you will learn which areas to adjust, and I don't do that now. If I need more energy, I just and plus, you know, I've learned to calibrate to what I'm seeing. You know, like right now I'm seeing myself. If I feel I need more energy, then I'll just do it. I'll just do more or do less. But if you don't see yourself, plus it's also a good practice. So the takeaway here is have more energy if you're working with other mediums like video. But because our topic is more of a physical appeal, dogs barking. Practice that, projecting higher energy. Exaggerate. Look in the mirror or even a camera. Exaggerate. Then ease. Slowly ease out and calibrate. That will also give you range. You can't be a one-trick pony all the time, just being always like that. Always in your face, always. Later on, I'll show you sample videos of high energy being over the top, but it works. If you're, for example, the new Miami Vice, which is actually maybe 10 years old, Miami Vice movie. I remember that because a lot of us modeled that. It comes up really strong, but it's just fine because when you're working in the clubs, you're working in that environment. I mean, operating in that kind of environment, it's just right. But if you're operating in more intimate environments, like a church, you know, you come off like a jackass. It's too much. In the early days, what I visualize is, so I project like that. For example, you're a mirror, I project like that. My intent is to break that mirror with the sheer strength of my projection, which won't happen, of course. But, you know, that's just a good visual. Like, how do I break this mirror with just the intensity of my projection? You know? Because projection, how do you, that's intangible, that's invisible. So I try to make it more tangible and visual. I can imagine it basically. So I imagine, like how, like example, how do I break that? How do I break? No, ignore the part. Neutral, just pure energy. You might not see it because it's not, but in person, especially if you're sensitive, you will see it, feel it at least. There's a change. It's not even the physicality of, because like eyes only, more intense. I don't know if you can see that. It's meant to be subtle. So not even that. Okay, I'm not trying to be intense with my eyes. I'm just saying with just energy. So same dead energy, but trying to break that mirror or camera. I'm just trying to teach the energy here, just the energy. Maybe this would help you out, because I practice an energy healing system. It's like Qigong. If you don't know what that is, imagine shows like Dragon Ball. You know where they do like physical energy projection stuff? We actually do that. Energy projection stuff. And that really is like, it's very similar to this. Very similar. Like, we're like this, and you're projecting energy. And because it's, because it's an energy practice, everyone is sensitive. So, yeah, they can feel it. If it's working, we can feel it. If it's not working, the master teacher would tell you that it's not working. Project stronger. Maybe another visual to this. Yeah, breaking the mirror, right? Breaking the camera lens. What does it feel if you held a hammer on your hand? Scratch that, scratch that, scratch that. So another visual could be, what if you held a hammer on your hand and you wanted to break glass? Your hammer is your energy, right? Glass. Bam, Now instead of the hammer, energy. How do you break that? Maybe you'll do that. Don't ignore my what I look like. It's when you do this, the feeling. Another way. Google, or rather search in YouTube, telekinesis. How they're trying to move stuff. Whether it works or not, that's irrelevant. The point is, you're getting that feeling, that experience. So what if you wanted to move that? How would you do that? That's energy projection. All those things are similar. The point is, you get what I'm trying to get at. Intensity. You need to control your intensity. You need to be able to control your intensity. Turn up the volume when needed. Turn it down when you need to be more, intimate or softer. The practical application is, so you meet a meek type of person, and you come off strong. That's going to intimidate them. It's going to annoy them. It's like a salesman, He's too strong. They're coming in too strong. You know what I mean? They're too strong. They need to back off a little with their energy. Back off a little. We're not talking about proxemics yet. Physical spacing. I'm just talking, I'm trying to really be clear to dissect these individual elements. Because later on, we will be applying everything all at once. So you better understand what each piece is and, gain competence. Because it's like you're being a mixing board DJ, You adjust the volume, you adjust the pitch, you adjust the treble, you move to the left, to the right, the tempo you adjust. Although it's like that. It's like you're mixing the right recipe. And because we're talking about a non-verbal, invisible thing, so it's difficult to explain these things. We need to be really precise and clear on each separate element. So don't undermine the value of that Tyra Banks exercise. Watch as many as you can and do what they're doing. Try to make good pictures. It would be better if someone were actually to shoot you. And again, it has to be exaggerated. Like, ask your friend, do you feel it that it's more, am I going overboard with this? Go for that. Nuance it later on, but go overboard as much as possible. Exaggerate as much as you can. No one cares about that picture anyway. It's just for practice. So once you've reached the ceiling, which is too strong, you just ease out. Calibrate to the perfect level intensity. I need to talk now. I need to talk about LOA, law of attraction. I still can't. Wait.